Okay, is this on? Hey, it's the Roxanne, and get ready to mic check with me in Newark. And what can I say with Councilwoman Amina Bey? Go ahead, Amina, do your part.
Cut. Take two.
1 2 1 2. Mic Check Newark. This is Amina Bey, your Central Ward Councilwoman. I can't wait for you to see my conversation with the one and only Roxanne Shante. Stay tuned. Hey Newark, this is Amina Bey, your Central Ward Councilwoman, and this is a Mic Check Newark. This is where we sit and talk about all things community, government, and how they intersect. So today we have a very special guest. We're going to be talking about how culture and community come together with arts and entertainment and all things Newark. We have the rap icon, hip-hop royalty, my sister, Roxanne Shante. How you doing, sis?
I am great. You know, it's funny because for you to say that and then you just know me as like Shante from First Street.
Right.
Like literally, like, yeah, and from the Spires, it's Roxanne Shante from First Street. First and Orange, you know, absolutely.
And I mean, you have created, you have so much history in so many different ways. But one of the latest of your history-making moments is your Lifetime Achievement Award from the Grammys.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You are really doing it. You're doing it for hip-hop. You're doing it for the culture. You're doing it for Newark. And you are a Newarker. So we can start there because people don't know that. You know, they really don't know that you a Newark girl.
Absolutely. I think what it is that because I was born in New York and I'm from Queensbridge Public Housing, and I'm going to be QB until the day I die.
Absolutely.
And we were laughing about the fact when we were talking about the arena and how it's like New York, New Jersey, and they put that on a big arena. And I was like the original New York, New Jersey big thing. And I came here, and when me and my sisters actually came to Newark, we didn't come under really good circumstances. Mm-hmm. We went through BCW, which is the Bureau of Child Welfare, and then we went through DIFRS. Mm-hmm. And so after that, we were placed in foster care. So we had foster parents that were here in Newark, New Jersey. So for us, it was a way of coming here and then having to adapt. And then we just literally, because I was a little bit older than my sisters. So they were little when we came here. So they were able to go to elementary school and junior high school, and then everybody went to high school and everything else. So we're really Newarkers. Like, I was a teen mom. I gave birth to my first child in University Hospital when University Hospital was just one building. Yeah. Like when it was the Mothers and Infants building, which was across the street, the big tall brown building, and then right across the street, they had just started building University Hospital. And, my son is almost 40. So we're talking like, almost 40 years ago when I gave birth. Not when I moved here. I've been in the Spires. I lived on 1st Street, 3rd Street, Prince Street, and then I remember when Society Hill came along, and I was one of the first people to move into Society Hill. And for us, that was like the Jeffersons, baby. Like, I had moved on up. I was living in Society Hill. At that time, my number was like 78 Boston Street, and I lived 78 Boston Street. It was the only black door. Yeah. So it was like, oh, that's Roxanne's store. It's the black door. It's the black door. And I remember when young men were getting released out of the county, because the county used to be on the corner. Now, I'm giving you a little Roxanne Shante history so that y'all can see that when I say Brick City, I mean Brick City. When I say Newark, I mean Newark. You know what I mean? So I remember when they found out that I lived there, when they would be coming home and getting out, because the county used to release them late at night. Yeah. So when they would release them at night, most of the people getting ready to go to Howard Street, they getting ready to go to Prince Street, so they have to walk through Society Hill. And they knew that my house was there. So they'd be coming through, they'd be like, yo, Roxanne. And I'd have to come outside in the middle of the night. I'd come outside and be like, yo, shut up, my son is asleep. They'd be like, no, word is born. I didn't believe them when they said you lived here. I didn't believe it. And it's like, yo, I'm going to come back. Like, I don't look like this all the time. I'm going to clean up. And when I clean up, I'm going to come back and I'm going to take you out. You know what I'm saying? So this is like, that's my history. Yeah. Do It All, Red Man, you know what I'm saying? Rockman. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are people who had frequent my home, and growing up. Because literally those are the years that you grow up. Yeah. And I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. So I'm a Newarker. So I was really proud to bring home the Lifetime Grammy Award, not just to Queensbridge, but it is displayed in my home today.
In Newark.
In Newark. Like literally, like if someone says, oh, there's no Grammys in Newark, and Newark doesn't have nothing good going on, especially like in the South Ward and this and that. Like, no, that's not true, because there's a Grammy sitting right there, on my mantle inside of the South Ward. Absolutely.
So it's so funny because when you came to Newark, you came to the Central Ward, and that's where you grew up, and that's where I am now, and I'm the councilwoman.
Yes,
but you currently live in the mighty, mighty South Ward, where I was born and raised.
Yes.
In the mighty South. So yet another connection. But I mean, so, having the experience in foster care and having those foster parents, is that what led you to become a court advocate? Because a lot of people don't know that about you.
Yeah, they don't know that I'm an Essex County CASA.
Yeah.
I take a lot of pride in that. That's a court-appointed special advocate for children who are in foster care, misplaced adoptions, the children who have no voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been a CASA for years.
Yeah.
When I remember when I first came in, when I first came back to Newark, because you never really leave Newark.
Yeah.
You just go out and this is what I say. You go out, you make money, and if you are a good person or if you are the right type of person, you go out, you make money, you come back and try to make a difference in the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And that's what I did. And I remember when I returned and I told you I was going to become a CASA, and I was like, I need somebody to vouch for me. You said, I'll vouch for you because yes, I know that you're going to. And I remember your mom yelling from the kitchen, and put my name on there too. Yeah, just in case they need to know.
Well, mommy loves you. Shout out to Sister Frederica.
Absolutely. So, I was like, oh, okay, great. Because it's hard to say this out of my mouth, as true as it is, but it's hard to get support when you want to do the right thing for people that they feel cannot do anything for them. See, people will support people when they feel like there's something that these people can do for them. But these children in foster care, there's nothing that they can do for us, but there's so much that we can do for them.
Yeah.
So I really thank you and your mom for being those that stepped in and said, okay, well, listen, she may not be your most conventional, advocate or CASA, but we know that when it comes to speaking for the children, she loves them. And I was speaking from experience, and that's one of the things that you and your mom have always said, that everything goes for experience. It's so many things that you can read in a book, but reading it in a book does not compare to those who have experienced it. And so when you do stuff for Newark, if you have that background and that experience, like I can go for everything. Like I know what it is, whether it's, trying to figure out how I'm going to feed my sisters and trying to take them back and forth to school and trying to figure out how to get them in programs and what am I going to do. And now my sisters are like longshoremen and teachers and CEOs and all of these great things. And all these great things are Newark based, you know what I'm saying? And really good fighters. I had to include that. Like that is something that you learn in Newark, that you learn how to defend yourself. If we're going to be here, we're going to be truthful with it. The knuckle game is serious, but the main thing about it is all of these things make you a great Newarker. And so when I go places, I represent Newark. I always have, and I always will. That's the thing. I always will, so it was great to see you become, the councilwoman. I thought it was just great because now it's someone who really has that footing, that grounding, that understanding of what people need and want. And I can't wait till we get to my part when I get to ask all of the questions. So I'm going to switch back to her and let her keep asking me. But when it gets to my part, I got a lot of questions.
I know you do, sis. I know you do. So I just have one more that I wanted to mention because, again, I want people to know and understand the full depth and breadth of who you are as a community person because, we've seen you, we've seen your movie, Roxanne, we've seen your unsung, we know all of those things, about the music, and about the artistry and about the entertainment. But people don't know about you as a community. They don't know about Mind Over Matter, a lot of people. So let's talk about Mind Over Matter because this is how we connected and we came together through community and through service. The music was extra because I was already, I was already a fan before I became your friend.
Right.
And so tell us about Mind Over Matter because the influence that you have had over so many young women in this community. And when you talk about doing things for people who can't do anything for you, but you pour into people because you don't know who they really are, who they can become.
That's what it is.
What the potential that God has put in them, and they just need someone to believe in them and to help unlock it. And that's what you've done. So tell us about that.
Well, Mind Over Matter is a nonprofit organization that we run here out of Newark, New Jersey. And one of the things that Mind Over Matter does is when young ladies go into high school, we follow them from the 9th grade to the 12th grade, meaning any and everything that they need from the moment that they come into the 9th grade until they graduate, and we push them to graduate. And we've had a 98% graduation rate.
Excellent.
Yeah, because we only had about maybe 3 girls that didn't out of over 500. So, you know, one of the things about it is I would say to them, like, how bad do you want to graduate and where do you want to go? And they're like, I want to go to college. Some say they want to go get a job. Some people say, you know, I learn a little different. You know, school is a little tough for me. Oh, I'm in foster care. I'm going. And that's what really pushed me to become a CASA this time around, was because I had so many young ladies who were in foster care. And I needed to be able to converse with with the foster parents. And in order to do that, I needed to make sure that I had the credentials behind me to tell her, like, yo, listen, you need to take better care of her. This is the situation. She's not a check child, and I'm not going to let you treat her that way. Yeah. I had young ladies that were in my program that were willing to do any and literally any and everything just to get these prom dresses. So it started off with me wanting to make sure that I was able to get them prom dresses without them feeling like they was going to literally have to sell their souls or anything else at that point in order to get these prom dresses. So it started off with wanting to make sure that they had their prom dresses, wanted to make sure that they graduated, wanted to make sure that if it was books or even stopping by and picking them up in the morning and getting them in the car. And a lot of this took place at Weequahic High School. And I would tell them, like, listen, get in the car. I'm going to drive you to school. Then I started a class there. I was like, listen, you got to come to my class, be in class. And they would come and they would be in class every day. And became so popular that I started having people from Love and Hip Hop come in. I started having rappers come in, you know, and this was just for my class only. Yeah. So I didn't do it for the entire school. And then I guess maybe the school wanted like more involvement with it, but I felt that I needed to keep hands-on with a group of girls of success than to have just a massive entertainment. Yeah. You know, I wanted to be able to say, okay, ladies, this is what we're going to do. I took them to their first jobs. They still contact me today. You know, they're telling me, hey, look, we're doing this, we're doing that. We don't have any babies. Yeah. You know, and people say, well, why do you say that? And it's because being a teen mom is the hardest job that any young lady could go on. It's the hardest job. So for me, I pushed them away from that, trying to like tell them how much fun college is going to be and how much fun this is going to be and how it's better if you only have yourself to think about. And if you're already responsible for your siblings, there's no need to have any more children. So it was honestly like just leading them that way. You know what I'm saying? Just leading them into that path, saying like, listen, you need to learn how to enjoy life. And so many of them just followed in. And when you can lead by example, you know, it's hard for me to talk to someone that says, well, you know, I'm a runaway. You don't know what it's like to be hungry. And I'm look behind me like, who you talking to? Who you did? Like, I've done all of that, you know? So to speak from experience, I think that's what's made Mind Over Matter so successful. And still today, you know, I have this thing called a hot dog box. And the hot dog box is just a small box that I keep by the house where we fill it with food, where some of, you know, like some of the girls or other people in the neighborhood, they come by, they take stuff, but then when they get a chance, they replace it. You know, so we didn't make it this big thing that we put outside for everybody to see. And growing up, of course, you know, I dealt a lot with people who went through addiction. And so, you know, I was known as, you know, and I'm going to laugh about this now, but I was known as like Shante from the shooting gallery, you know. Yeah, from the shoot gallery. So when I was younger, to make extra money, I worked in a shooting gallery, which is a place where people would go and shoot up heroin. And because of that, I learned how to do certain things. And one of those things is that when someone was in an overdose situation or circumstance, I was really well prepared on how to bring them back. It was something as simple as frozen food and bag of peas and different things like that, you know. And still today, if someone is going through it and it's really bad, I've had people come to my house and come to get me, like, because I live in the South Ward and I'm located in between two very high areas of addiction. So they'll come past and be like, if they could just get them to my lawn or if they could just get them to my door. Literally, they've done that. And I've had my husband, like, get up with me in the middle of the night and he'll come outside and he's, like, crossing his arms like, come on, let's just call the ambulance. And I'm like, we are. But the thing about it is until they get here,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These are still our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So I still need to come out here and do this. So like I've used a lot of frozen peas
Yeah.
out of my freezer. Like grab the peas, come on. So I was reaching out for Narcan. I was reaching out for a lot of different things. And so I was glad to find out that the city had a program and now they have a new person in place that would be able to do that, you know. And so, you know, just trying to link up with other organizations. And that's the reason why I'm so glad that you invited me here today, for me to be able to tell you like some of the things that I deal with and some of the things that I've seen, where you get a firsthand look at what's going on. And then for you to tell me like, listen, no, this is where you need to go, because you're doing so many great things in your ward and you've done so many things, whether it's the food that you've given out, whether it's the children that you mentor, whether it's the programs that you've put together for young women and the things that you're doing for those who have just came home from incarceration and all of these great things. And so now to be able to make that link brings me a peace of mind. So I was really glad. So thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It sounds like you need to be doing Narcan training. You know, this is Narcan training from the streets, because, you know,
because sometimes you ain't got Narcan, you got some frozen peas. And I mean, those of you who know, you know.
Because, you know, we have organizations like, you know, NJCRI, the New Jersey Community Research Initiative. They go out and they do specialized training for community groups and different organizations on you know, drug overdose and Narcan training, and how you bring people back and you know, really just help keep them alive until they can get to the hospital or get to whatever type of substance abuse services and things like that. So
yes,
and
absolutely.
we did that, you know, those trainings at the Shani Baraka Center where we worked together and everything. And you brought the mind over matter there. So I mean, it's really good that you are so community minded, and that you know and understand that it's all of us. It's all of us or none of us.
Yes.
That's it. You know, it's all of us or none of us. So we're going to transition now. So we will go to our next segment. We're going to come back. We're going to take a break. And on our next segment, we're going to flip the script.
Yes.
And Roxanne Shante is going to interview me, and we're going to talk about all things community and resources. So we'll see you next time. All right, Newark, we are back. This is Mic Check Newark with your Essential Ward Councilwoman Amina Bey, and I am here with my very special guest, Roxanne Shante.
Yes.
We're going to have a nice day.
Please believe it. Okay, let me see if I done sent you some bars now. Now I sent you some bars.
All right, so our first segment, you know, we got to know Roxanne Shante, the community person, the community woman, the advocate. And so now she has some questions for me, and we're going to talk about all things Newark and community. So what's good, sis?
What's going on? Okay, so here's the thing. There's so many times that people here in the city don't really understand exactly what city government is and what takes place. I think they think that, you know, the council people are supposed to do this and they're supposed to do that. Can you explain to me? Because you explained it to me and then I get a chance to explain it to them. But now I got you here. So now it's like, okay, so can you explain to me exactly what does the council do?
Yes. So the city council, the Newark Municipal Council, the city of Newark is under the Faulkner Act. And so you have the mayor and the council that really govern. The mayor is the person who oversees the entire city, the departments, how city runs. The council, we are the legislative body. We are the ones who put together the laws, which are ordinances of the city of Newark, on how the government should be run, how services should be run. The mayor directs them, but we're saying this is what needs to be done. We are the advocates and the representatives for the residents and the voters here in the city of Newark, that we get information on what their needs are and find out where the gaps are and whether we attach city services to it or if we have to create a law and the ordinance to address those issues. That is what we do.
So if let's just say a resident has something that they want to complain about. Mm-hmm. So if they have a complaint, what is the proper channel that they need to do for that complaint? Do they contact your office, or is the first step to try to speak to someone in that area that they have the complaint like let's just say it's HR service, human resource, or they're going down there, and so now they have a complaint there. Is there a certain order of steps that they do before they come to the council? Because sometimes people be like, I'm just going to call my council person.
Yeah.
So is there certain channels that they need to go through first in order to make it a more successful complaint and possibly be able to get something out of it?
So what should happen and what does happen are two different things. So what should happen is that the information should be readily available to all residents, that they should be able to pick up a phone or send an email, get information off of the city website, and know what department they should hit. But that information isn't always user-friendly,
Okay.
And so it's easier for residents to pick up the phone and call their council person. And that's fine. That's what we're there for, because then we can redirect. We can do the warm transfer, warm handoff. Because the thing is that when people get to the point where they're calling City Hall, they're so flustered and frustrated, and so sending them to all different things and telling them to research numbers and departments, and you don't always know what issue falls under what department.
Exactly.
So let's just go to one person. So you're going to call the council person. And some people don't even know who their council people are. And that's another thing. So we as the city of Newark have to do a better job of communicating and getting information to the residents, because guess what? Everybody's not on Facebook and Instagram. We have a responsibility
Absolutely.
to make sure that people know who represent them, especially when we're asking for their support and their vote. It just makes sense. So do you call the council person's office? And what we do, we have staff, we have aides who will direct the resident to the proper channels. We will make the contact. We will email the department. We will take their information. We'll make the phone calls for them, and then do the follow-up and call the resident back. This is what's happening. So whether it's a missed garbage pickup, or if it's a noise violation, or you have neighbors that have code violations, or you're living in a house or an apartment building that has no heat or hot water, whatever those issues are, we have a responsibility to make sure that the people who getting paid to take care of these things, take care of these things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So also, when it comes to now, let's talk about voting for a second, because we know that the voter turnout in Newark can be horrible under certain circumstances.
Yes.
And I think the reason for that, as a resident of Newark, is because they don't trust where the candidate, like, it's one thing when someone tells you that they're going to do certain things out of their mouth, and then it's another thing when you watch their actions.
Right.
I tell people all the time, this is what I tell my children. Lies are not what comes out the mouth. It's the action behind what is said that truly is the lie. Because they can tell you, oh, no, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then their actions are they don't do these things, right? So what it does is it really makes people feel like they feel let down, they feel disappointed, because they feel like this is who I vote for, this is who I want, and this is what I want them to do. Under those circumstances, when it comes to coming out and getting more people out to vote, what do you feel might be the reason? Because I'm just telling you as a resident, what I feel is maybe it might be disappointment. With you just getting in, we have to give you the opportunity and give you the chance. We see that you are taking off running. Everything that you said you're going to do, you have been doing it. You're making it happen. But we need to know, what is it that you feel would it make a difference if more people came out and voted?
Well, I think part of the reason why some people don't come out and vote is, I think it's what you said about the disappointment. I think that we have lost the trust of the public. We, meaning people who are running for office, who are in public spaces. And we have to do a better job of engaging young people, because we have forgotten that the changes that have happened with our people, specifically in this country, have happened through young people's civic engagement.
Yes.
And so acting as if their voices don't matter, except when we want their vote, they're like, nah, I'm good. You got that. And then also making sure that we continue the engagement, not just during election time, but all year long, and making sure that we listen to people. So what was a blessing for me during the special election that I won, and then now, because I had a body of work that I was able to show that this is what I've been doing all my life. This is the work that I've done long before I had thoughts of running for office. And so when you match your work and your words, then people are more willing to give you a chance. But if you're just words, but you have nothing to show, okay, so what have you been doing? Because if you're for community, you should be doing work in the community without the title, without the elected position, because you can serve the community as anything or anyone. And so that's the thing I think that people have just gotten so used to being lied to.
Right.
That, you don't automatically assume people are telling the truth. You automatically assume they're telling you a lie until they prove it to be true. So, but I think that that's our fault. We have to do a better job of making sure that, one, that we manage expectations and be honest with people. We can't lie to people. We have to tell, because no, I can't fix everything. I cannot. But I can tell you what I can do. I can tell you what I can advocate for. I can tell you how I can support you. But am I going to be able to lower your rent? I can't promise you that.
Right.
That's a lie.
Absolutely.
So we're not going to do that. But when you tell people that you're going to do things and then they find out that it's a complete lie, then that's it. They check out and they go about their business, and it's hard for you to get them back.
As a resident, I tell people all the time, because people come up to me, they say, there's this thing that they did, this poll that they did called Controlling Vote. I think we had discussed it before. So let's just say between a person's popularity, the things that they do in the community and everything else. So like where it stands, let's just say I personally, Roxanne Shante, could influence 50,000 people on a vote.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's been documented. 50,000 people on a vote. Mm-hmm. I'm a person that lives and walks in forgiveness. I'm a person that understands that we are humans.
Yeah.
Things can happen. Things that can be said can seem like they said, but that's not what was said. People can try to do things. And then you, also being human, can take something that you're going to do and put it in the hands of another. And it's not that you didn't do what you said you were going to do, but the other person didn't do what they said that they were going to do. So what happens is it looks like a failure or a glitch in the team. Right. And I think that what a lot of politicians, especially those locally, they need to not just hold people accountable, but they need to also say, I did this. I took it from my office. It went to this office. And then this office is where the ball got dropped. Now, I will address this office because as a resident and a human, I can live with that.
Yeah.
Because I know that.
Yeah.
I can understand if you tell me that your secretary didn't show up and this got misplaced. I can understand if somebody was typing something in and all of a sudden there was one or two little errors or something like that. But the communication needs to be there. Send a person a letter and it's better. That's what I tell people all the time. Like, send me a letter and it's better.
Yeah.
Because this way I can always go back to that letter.
Right.
I can always go back to see that and do that. But also as human beings, we also got to understand that when we're looking at politicians, they are still human beings. They are still human. It's like we want them to be this superhuman where they don't make any mistakes or they don't do anything wrong and everything that they touch is supposed to turn to gold. And that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
Now I'm in the South Ward.
Right.
And, the mighty. And so the thing about it is, I've had a lot of people say like, well, why do you want to live in the South Ward? Or why did you choose Newark? Newark is like me. Or maybe I'm like Newark because Newark's older than me. So let's switch that around before they think I'm too old. And I didn't dye my hair, so they probably thinking I'm old anyway. But anyway, the thing about it is that I know what it is to be torn down and to rebuild. I know that it takes time to rebuild. Yeah. And I know that when we look at how they say, well, Newark is built on the exterior. Well, sometimes that's where you got to start. Yeah. Sometimes I got to get new clothes. Yeah. Sometimes you got to start in the other areas first. And then you get to the heart of it because you don't realize, like, I'm still eating right and I'm still exercising. So you don't really see all the changes inside, which would be our wards on the inside. They don't see the changes that are taking place. They don't see that you have the food program that's going on. They don't see the mentoring. All they're thinking about is the big buildings that are on the outside. And those are nice clothes. But we're still exercising on the inside. You gotta wait till the summertime so I can hit you with this stomach. You know what I'm saying? Right now, it don't look like nothing, but the muscle inside is tight.
Yes.
Well, maybe not that tight. I don't want to fool y'all. Shit. It ain't that tight. Because when I stand up, y'all gonna see me walk. She said her stomach was tight. It ain't that tight. But the thing about it is, I want to influence those who I can influence.
Yeah.
That there's a certain amount of grace that has to be given when mistakes and things are made.
Yeah.
You know? And when it comes to doing things here in Newark, things are always done differently because Newark is different. You know? So what is it that you see in Newark that you love the most? What is it that you now, because you're Newark.
Yes.
You tell me, what is it that you love the most about Newark?
What I love
besides
the most,
fish truck.
Yeah.
Because I love the fish truck.
Gotta get that fish.
Baby, okay? Extra piece of bread, a nice little sweet tea, sit in my car. Okay, enough about me. Go ahead. So tell me, what do you love?
What I love most about Newark is you always have a feeling of community. I don't care what happens. We could be fighting and going through whatever changes. Let somebody come in from the outside and try to say something about Newark or try to come for someone. The way that when we're good, we're so good. And when we love so hard, and we will take care of each other. We come together. I think about during the pandemic, and I always go back to that because that was like one of the roughest times that any of us have ever seen. And the way we loved on each other, the way we took care of each other, the way that we came together as a people, as community, because one, we have a shared history, we have a shared love, we have a shared family. You can find anybody in the city of Newark, and there's 6 degrees of separation between them and somebody else in Newark.
Absolutely.
I don't care
Everybody's
where.
connected. Everyone's connected.
There's a connection, whether you just moved here or whether you are here generations in. And that connection is what has sustained us all these years, and all of the iterations that we've gone through, everything that we have accomplished, what we've built, what we've lost, what we've regained. It all came down to the people and the connections and the love. And that's the thing that, like you said, no matter what, you leave, you come back because it's in you. It's who you are. It's ingrained in your spirit.
Yes.
And so, that's why I go hard for my city.
What changes would you like to make in Newark? Like, what is it that you would like to see? What would you like to see in your ward? Let's start off with your ward, but then we're going to talk about the city in general. So, what changes would you like to see?
One of the main things that I want to see, because the Central Ward is so diverse, and it has so much interwoven of corporate and community. We have a lot of businesses, a lot of development, but Central Ward was the place where people came and settled during the Great Migration.
Mm-hmm.
And so most Black people who live in Newark, they started in the Central Ward. Their family started there. It used to be an industrial, place. That's where you came and got the jobs, and then everything moved out. And now we have this great influx of people. It's another great migration that's happening in because people are coming in because they don't want to pay $6,000 for a studio in New York, so they're coming into Newark. But I want to make sure.
And there's mucho trabajo aquí.
Yeah,
oh, by the way, I forgot to tell y'all my name was Lolita.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't know that part. I eased that in on y'all. Yes, I did.
Yes.
Okay, back.
All of that.
Yes.
But to make sure that the people who have been here, who have been through the fire, have been through the trials and tribulations, know and understand that this is still their Newark. It's still their Central Ward. And to make sure that they have what they need, and that, no, you're not being pushed out. No, you're not forgotten. And yes, you have somebody that has going to rock for you and with you no matter what. So one of the things I want to make sure that we change is how we communicate. Again, we go back to communication, how we communicate to. So my job is to level up the communication to all Central Ward residents, but especially the native Newarkers, especially our seniors, to make sure that they don't feel forgotten, because it's easy to ignore people when they get old and they get quiet, and they don't really have the wherewithal to move around independently anymore. And so if they're not in your face, then it's easy to just be like, oh, they'll be okay. They're all right. They don't need much. No, because these are the people that took care of you. These are the people that held the city together when it was burning. These are the people that stayed when everybody left. And we have to make sure. So we have 2 ends of the spectrum. We have our seniors, our pioneers, And then we also have our young people that are looking at us like, what are you doing for me? What have you done for me lately? You don't think about me as a whole person. You're not engaging me. You're not pouring into me. So to make sure that they are uplifted and they have a space of their own, that we create space and make space for the young people. We haven't done a good enough job of that in a sustainable way. You know, we have a lot of great things that happen, but there are a lot of one-offs. But we have people in community that don't understand what community is, and we have a responsibility to make sure that they feel included. And so to make space for our young people and to take care of our seniors and make sure that our native Newarkers know and understand that they are wanted, loved, and protected here in their home.
No, absolutely. I mean, my neighbors, hola Maria, my neighbors, what they've done is they've set up like volleyball in their backyard.
Volleyball.
Volleyball, like they have the net, they set up the volleyball, and you know, there's mucho comida, they have a lot of food, they cooking, they barbecuing and everything else. And that was something that was new to me.
Okay.
That was something that was new to me because I didn't realize how many people had moved in to Newark. And now that we really get a chance to walk around and see everyone, you know, it gives me a chance to embrace both sides of, you know, my culture. Like I get a chance to see everything now, you know, not just the hip hop in this part of it, but, you know, being able to see my neighbors. And I noticed a lot of that also in your ward. Yeah. Now, they started up like doing these private soccer camps, which I think should not be private. I think they need to open them up to the community, or I think that we need to start doing soccer camps, or, you know, there's some other things that we need to do. We have all of these beautiful parks. We need to start setting up stuff for the children. So speaking of that, let's talk about things that are available. Okay. I was talking about comida, which is food. I was talking about food first. What is available for the residents when it comes to food?
So food insecurity is such a huge issue. And again, I go back to the pandemic when it became on the forefront of emergency services. So there are a lot of organizations around that provide food assistance, you know, Newark Emergency Services for Families, one, you know, organization that I lead, you know, St. James Social Services, Ironbound Community Corporation, United Community Corporation. The city of Newark does a food distribution in every ward. Every week, they're in a different ward, giving out fresh packages of food with HelloFresh.
Yes.
We partner with HelloFresh, and that happens. But also, you know, what we do is that we have organizations that work together with the city of Newark to help people in the long term. Because yes, you know, giving somebody groceries, you know, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach him how to fish, he eats for a lifetime.
Yes.
And so our job is to, yes, we're going to give you this food and we're going to make sure that your family is fed today, but we're going to help you get into these programs where you can have sustainable employment, where you can afford to make sure that your family eats good every day. Okay.
Absolutely.
And so that's what the real goal is. And so making sure that Newark is no longer a food desert. Yes, we have we have ShopRite and we have Whole Foods, but we're still, you know, we still have a gap as far as affordable food throughout the city of Newark. So we work with different organizations, nonprofit organizations that provide food pantries, soup kitchens, because we have a lot of working poor. People who work every day, but they still have to choose between feeding their families and paying their rent. And so we're going to help them up levels so they can, because they're underemployed, make sure that they receive opportunities for gainful employment where they can up level their skills at the Newark One Stop, or because, you know, Newark is also a college town. We have Essex County College that has a lot of free programming and training.
Nice.
Yes, that goes on, and we can help people find jobs that will pay them more. So food insecurity is no longer an issue. But right now, we're going to make sure that you have the food that you have in your hand so your family can eat today, and then we will train you for a better job so you can make sure that they eat good every day.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about trabajar, work.
Yes.
Okay. English word, work.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about trabajar aquí, like working here. We're going to talk about doing that and the things that you can do for them there. How and where can they find this information for these programs that they can go to? Now, you got this incredible thing. Like when I look at my phone, I see this thing that you do. Like every week, it looks like an email that comes across and everything.
Yes. The Central Ward download.
Okay, the Central Ward download. Okay. And the information on there doesn't seem to just be for Central Ward. It seems like it's like for Newark, period.
It's Newark, period.
Okay. Break that down for me.
Okay. So what we have the Central Ward download, which is our email newsletter, and we also put it on social media that has all things Newark, all of the information about all of the events, because people think that, we're not party promoters. We're just not putting out stuff about parties. It's actually, how you eat, how you get a job, where's the training,
Yes.
All of those different programs. And so we provide this information to anyone who signs up all over Newark. It's not just about Central Ward. And so whether there's a special training or program happening through Newark Works or the Newark One Stop or the Newark Workforce Development Board, or there's businesses that need to connect to the Newark Regional Business Partnerships or through Newark Alliance, or if you're looking to invest in property through Invest Newark, we have that information and we put it out to the whole community. There's also information people can go online to our social media pages. We have a website as well as the city's website, but we figure that as we work with people in community, we get their information and then we're able to send them information because, again, we've talked about this multiple times, communication is key.
Absolutely.
If we can't communicate, it doesn't matter what kind of services we have. If we don't get the information to the community, then what good is it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I think is missing? And this is, I know we can ready to tie this up because we've been up here talking for a very long time. I hope it has been entertaining and informative.
And
I must say, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Educational, all of those good things. Is if I was able to see anything in Newark, New Jersey, what I would love to see, or I would love to see them bring back, is the community bulletin board. And let me just say why. I know that they don't want to really put them up in too many places and everything else, but all the other communities that I've visited, I've noticed that one thing they have is a standard location where there's a board of information. See, that's a place where people can walk up, pull up, roll up, stop, and look. It's like a glass board, and then you just put everything in there. I think your newsletter is excellent, and I think that information should be readily available to everyone, including those who do not sign up or those who may not have a cell phone or something like that. And to be able to say, well, there's one on this avenue, one on that avenue, one in the parks, one on the such and such. And I think they do have some in the parks, like maybe some in the parks and the senior centers. But just to be able to put that information out and have that in everyone's hands can literally save lives, because there's so many people that need help but just don't know where to go and get it. And I tell people all the time, like, I don't know everything. I'm glad that you invited me here today. This was very important. It was very enlightening for myself, because I got a chance to know more about you. I got a chance to know more about local government. I'm going to go to one of the meetings.
Yes.
Baby.
Yes.
I'm coming.
Come
I'm
on.
coming to one of those meetings.
Come on.
But one of the things about it, because now the eye is on everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone is looking.
Yeah.
And, as my mom would say, when everybody is looking, that's when you got to hit them with your best stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, I want to thank you again for having me here today.
Thank
and
you for coming.
1 2 1 2, this is a mic check for Newark. I just wanted to make sure that's what it is. Please believe it, baby.
Thank you so much, sis. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Newark, for tuning in. This is Mic Check Newark with your Central Ward Councilwoman Amina Bey, and we'll see you next time.
Please believe it.
So, Central Ward, we just want to thank you for joining us for another episode of Mic Check Newark. As always, we're here for you, and we want to make sure that you can contact us. So if you want to engage our office and attend one of our Before the Gavel sessions and have one-on-one meetings, or if you want to sign up for the Central Ward Download newspaper so you can get the information firsthand, please contact our office. You can call at 973-733-5870. That's 973-733-5870. We have additional information up on the screen. You can engage us on social media, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.